when she did White Cliffs of Dover, I had worked with Sidney Franklin, who in my book was not only a great director, was probably one of the great producers of all times. Great sense of theater, great sense of everything. I had worked with Jody and the Yearling, Jody, with many people, and he wanted Irene to come to me about doing the poem. Well, he finally got, she evidently went to someone else who shall be nameless, who was also supposed to, was at Paramount for years. At any rate, she came in very kind of, I have to be here.
Can you start by saying Irene Dunn came into my office kind of like I have to be here?
Yes.
Use her name.
Irene Dunn came into my office because Sidney Franklin, the producer, and Clarence Brown had told her to. And she didn't want to come, and you knew it when she came through the door that she didn't want to come. And she said, well, what do you want me to do? You want me to listen to Lynn Fontaine's record? I said, oh, goodness, no. I love Lynn Fontaine's record, but it's an entirely different motive. I said, she is doing a piece of poetry that she wants you and me to understand that we've never heard before. You are underneath an orchestra that I'm seeing a film. You are a slight accompaniment. She looked at me. I said, why are you looking at me that way? Well, I just am a little surprised. That was it. Still not saying, oh, I'm glad to be here, or how do you do, or anything else. We went through this, and we recorded it. And I was on the recording stage when she did it. And she said to me, remember, I'm a star, and it's fine with me. I don't know you. It was at a big dinner party, somebody's home. And she walked in, I was there. She said, hi, teacher. I said, you said it, I didn't. That was but she did it beautifully, but you see, it was a matter of, well, you know, in the Yearling, for which Claude Jarman Jr. was given a Special Academy Award, I worked with him before he made the test, Mr. Franklin. And then they went on location to Florida. And that was a bad word. I wouldn't go on location. Mr. Brown called me, Clarence Brown, who never, worked with Garbo, never had any. Lillian, will you please come down? I said, no, I will not. They took backgrounds. They came back to MGM, and Mr. Franklin said to me, how long do you want? I said, 6 weeks. Mr. Franklin came and saw every scene in my office and then walked Jody down to the set. That's the way that was done.
And how was Jane Wyman in that? They changed mothers, didn't they?
Oh, well, that was long before Clarence. That was when Charlie Vidor was going to do it, darling. It was not.
So Jane Wyman didn't.
Oh no!
Appear in the
Always
last
when
thing of
Clarence
the
Brown was going to do it, she was going to do it.
I thought she played his mother. She didn't.
She did play his mother.
Oh, okay.
No, she did play his mother, and Gregory Peck played the father. But when it was finished, Mr. Franklin felt that the scene was not as good as it had been in my office. And the scene that you saw in the film was looped. That's correct. And I stood, Mr. Franklin and the editors were up in the booth. I stood in back of Jody on a sound stage with my hands in front of him on his stomach, because it had to be timed. And if you remember, it was a crying, broken scene. I hate you, I hope you. And I punched him in the stomach every time it was the time to do it. That's what you saw.
One of the most memorable scenes in
That's
movies.
right. That's right.
Let me get, before it goes out of my mind, talk to me of when we cut the last time, you were saying that the reason that the audience didn't feel Charlton Heston was that you didn't feel the person through the character.
He played a character and did it beautifully. Did you ever know Charlton Heston, the person, from that? Did you feel him? Did you feel that you knew Charlton Heston, the person, from seeing him? That's what I mean. He played a character and did it very well. He never, I think, let himself out.
And tell me about how that compares to like Clark Gable.
Well, Clark Gable was Clark Gable. He played the character. You see, Contra, when he played that Irish politician, I can't think of the man.
Parnell.
He was a live person. He didn't like him, perhaps. It wasn't what he felt. It wasn't what he was. He didn't. Gone with the Wind it was, and he gave it to you.
But you said before that when Gable played a character, that Gable came out. Can you
Yes,
say
part
that?
of Gable didn't in that. I think he was, sometimes a character, an actor, can be very influenced by the bigness or the authority, or that this was a lie. You know, very few people could play Disraeli, because being Disraeli was kind of, you know, really rather extraordinary person. And I imagine, even with my imagination, that being that kind of a person, if your personality is one of really kind of easy, as Gable's was, or sexual, or anything of that kind, that to be austere or very mental, he may have held himself back unknowingly.
And now go on to what you said about Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney and how their personality came out.
Like who?
Like when you were telling me about Judy Garland.
Oh, well, Judy's was, I don't think Judy could help but show it. I don't think she knew any other way. If you watch Judy in one thing, when she sat down on the end of a stage and didn't even quite sing out loud in the big voice, I was born in a town, in a trunk, on a Saturday matinee. You died. And I think Judy just couldn't help but give you that.
Do you think that's at an actor's personal expense?
I think it's a combination. I think, you see, I think many times Lana let a personal, if someone was doing it that said, you know, Lana, that's for real. She made those pictures at those were phony kind of roles. And she played them that way.
When we were filming Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee the other day, Janet lets everything come out. Jamie Lee is, well, this is just the business, it's all about
That's right,
money.
she was just doing, you see, Jamie, if she has a character to do, does that character. Janet, whatever she has to do. That's why when, do you know Janet well, Jenny, like I do? If Janet really doesn't believe, I've seen Janet when someone has said to her, well, the story when Jamie adopted Thomas, the boy, Jamie and Janet were going to a motion picture luncheon. Now, this all came about very quickly. I mean, Jamie didn't know about it until, I think, Monday. The luncheon was Wednesday. Tuesday, she met the mother-to-be. Whatever arrangements were made. Wednesday morning, she called Janet and said, I can't go to the luncheon, but no matter what anybody says you don't know, just tell them anything. Actually, which was wonderful, the baby was being born, you see, and Jamie went to the hospital for the birth, was there, brought the baby home the same day. Don't print this unless Janet wants you to. But Janet tells the story, and everybody that was there, when they said, where is Jamie? What's the matter? Is she sick? They called her from the reporter and she stumbles over the words. They won't come out. But it's ridiculous. That's how real Janet is.
She can't tell a lie.
That's how real Janet is, so that what you say, she really wanted to do that for you or for whatever it was. For instance, when she tells me that she's going to New York to get an award for something, she is as excited about that as the fact that the book is coming out in paper book. That's the for realness of Janet. The temper, everything that happens.
Do you think it's that the younger stars like Jamie, you think they're afraid they don't want to get destroyed, they don't want to be
I
like
think it's the individual.
But how come we don't see very many actresses who do that, who
Darling,
give themselves?
Well, you pick out somebody who is a star, and I saw Jamie with Schwarzenegger, that I had never seen. Oh, I loved that picture. I could see it over and over and over again. Jamie did a scene in that picture in which the two men are in back of a screen and are really questioning her. She was marvelous in the whole picture, dear.